episode. Penny versus Neely. What happened? What in the racist conflicting views? Sexual assault or orgy? We're doing a shade room check-in. Situationships and testing. The legalities. Fashion passion. Is your passion for fashion inviting a predator? And book club. Okay. Welcome back, guys. What you talking about, Willis? I'm your host, Via. You can call me V. And it's Fight for Your Rights Friday. Let's talk about it. So, I want to take a moment to talk about Penny versus Neely. So this is the case. I will put up a clip. I believe I got it from NBC, ABC, one of the news sources. Let's take a look.
A restrained Neely took the stand.
Eric Gonzalez said he was waving his hand to get Daniel Penny's attention to let him know he was there to help, telling jurors, "I said I'm going to grab his hand so you can let go." Gonzalez grabs Jordan Neely's arm. Penny, who was restraining Neely, did not let go. Gonzalez was not on board the F train when witnesses say an irate Neely entered yelling threats on May 1st, 2023. Gonzalez was in the Broadway Lafayette station when he entered the stopped train and saw the men on the floor. Gonzalez testified Neely tapped someone, indicating he wanted to be released, to which Gonzalez told the jury he said, "We're not going to let you go until cops arrive." At some point, Jordan Neely's body goes limp and I let go. Then he says Penny let go. Gonzalez says he put Neely on his side, checked and found a pulse, then left because he was scared that a person could die. After learning Neely had died and seeing his picture associated with the incident, Gonzalez went into hiding, fearful he'd be prosecuted, explaining he even lied to prosecutors when he first met them about being on the F train when the incident began, concocting a story that Neely attacked him so that he could justify his actions. "There's all these protests going on. I'm scared for myself, scared for my family." Gonzalez was given immunity. Prosecutors say Penny's intentions were good, but argue he used excessive force. Penny has pleaded not guilty to second-degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. Another passenger, police officer, and a couple of EMTs also took the stand today. The trial resumes.
A couple things, and this is just, high level. It is a little unfortunate to see how the testimony of Gonzalez, which is the bystander who was there trying to hold his hand, was trying to be helpful. And when he realized that body essentially became lifeless, he took off, he bolted. He actually says, I didn't want to be there if he died. I have a family, what about me? And when he was questioned, he actually did not tell the truth. He decided to be honest for immunity's sake. Off the top, I'm grateful to every person who is honest when a life is at stake. And I'm a very spiritual person. I ask my higher power to guide every person who chooses to take the road less traveled, honesty. And I wish him nothing but the best for being honest. May God bless him. I would like to add to that they did mention that, Neely walked into the bus, he was making threats, he was being loud, he was being, seemingly dangerous. They didn't know if he had a weapon. And I am deeply sorrowed by the testimony that was given by passengers who were actually afraid. They were actually afraid for their lives. You can't negate the obvious. Public safety is a very real concern. I also want to add, his mental health issues, I am not sure I heard enough about how severe his mental health issues actually were. Understanding that mental health is a very sensitive topic and it's still in discovery. Every day we learn more and more and more about different diagnoses, different trauma responses, different triggers, and without understanding the depth and severity of his mental health issues, but they were bad, we do know that. Mental health issues are so important because honestly, we don't want people to be a danger to themselves or others. And understanding that, we understand why Penny acted the way he did. We understand why he chose the route of restraining this person who was seemingly becoming incredibly hostile to protect and serve. Why do I say it like that? Because he's a veteran, he's a Marine. This is what he was trained to do. Let's talk about it, because as a trained Marine, he is trained in the art of martial arts for the most part. There's a variety. The Miller technique was ordered. He created a program from various martial arts, such as karate, judo, taekwondo, boxing, and jiu-jitsu. And several Marine programs are very much inclusive of martial arts techniques. He is trained to kill, to fight war, to defend this country. And with any martial arts training comes the training to restrain and the training of self-control. Any person who's ever taken martial arts understands that your entire white belt program is all about not fighting. How do I want to say it? I want to be as accurate as possible. It really, I took Taekwondo. It is all about not fighting, trying to find every possible avenue not to fight. Conversation, restraint is one of the last resorts. You don't engage. It's about not engaging. It's about diffusion. It's about, humanity. The dehumanization that Neely endured when he was restrained for 6 minutes, you need to understand that when they were locked at the second-degree manslaughter, it's not because he's not guilty. The difference between, I'm going to put up a pictorial between manslaughter and between murder and manslaughter. And what we're actually going to see is manslaughter is consistent of voluntary manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, and vehicular manslaughter. Why am I saying it like this? Because manslaughter is the unlawful killing of a person without malice. It's general intent crime that's less culpable than murder. Involuntary manslaughter is inclusive within that. If a boxer let's say Mayweather, went out in the street and got in a fight, and the person, and let's just, for example, hit him one time, and he just, TKO'd and didn't get back up, there's a crime that was committed. Why? Because he is trained in the art of boxing, and he is trained to hit with force. It is unfortunate. We look at situations like Penny versus Neely, and we do have to wonder, would it have been different? Next. What in the racist? I'm going to play a video, and it's not funny at all, actually. It's just kind of like, wow, this actually happens. And we'll talk about it.
How many of you would trade places with society? Raise your hand.
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, it's yes or no. How many of you would do it?
I know I wouldn't. I mean, I dated a Hispanic, very dark.
No, I'm not talking about Hispanic. The question is.
But I was going to have children. So I spent many years thinking of myself of having very dark-skinned children.
Question is, how many of you would be willing to trade places in this society with a black person?
I think I would.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay.
I'm not saying there's not racism. Absolutely not. It's just saying I don't see it.
Many of, yeah, but you know how racist this country is.
Not to the degree that you do.
Oh no, you will never know. In this country, we created the criminalization of black people. And when your skin is seen as a weapon, you're never unarmed. And that's why black boys and men and women are dying in the street with their hands.
I don't even know what to say, actually. The beauty in it is understanding that people are not negating that racism exists. The heartbreaking part is that although we know it exists, some people are still not willing to do what they need to do to change it. Next, So we're checking in. This came off of an account on Instagram, the Neighborhood Talk, and I'll put it up. It says employees at a Tennessee, Virginia facility revealed to have allegedly had a 12-person orgy. One employee has also reportedly slept with 32 co-workers. So it is not specified whether this is the same person who had relations with 32 co-workers, or and I guess I should say the 12-person orgy, or if these are two different individuals. I'm actually at a loss for words. I am a victim and survivor of assault at work, in the workplace, and I am amazed at how people seemingly just don't know it's happening when all the signs are there, and in most cases it's happened before. In this case, 32 times. 32 times. How does one person have, sleep with 32 colleagues? Like, I just don't, willingly, I doubt it. Like, how? And so I like I said, I'm at a loss for words. I am dealing with something very similar. And on Fight for Your Rights Friday, I would like to take a moment to address what went wrong and what should happen. I was never directed to human resources in any fashion. I did bring this issue up to a person who should have been in a position to do something about it with respect to the toxicity and the hostility to people, actually, and to the verbal assault, because it was followed, the sexual assault was subsequently followed by verbal assault. And I was actually told to ignore it. It was actually made to seem as if it was insignificant. It wasn't that bad. And I'm saying this because that is not the right answer, like, at all. And so if this happens to you, seek out human resources on your own, please. Go document every instance that you are treated in a way that is unfairly, illegal, inhumanely. You have to document it. And if you're not allowed to talk to human resources, some of these people do not want you complaining, they don't want you documenting it, then please document it on your own. You need to keep a log, you need to keep a journal, a video log, do something that's going to allow you the opportunity to prove that this is what happened while I was working with you, for you, whatever. This person is a predator, they're a creep. They would not leave me alone. And I'm asking you to do this because should you have to call the police, should you have to get involved with the EEOC, should you have to file a lawsuit, now you have what you need to be able to prove that this was not willing, it was not consensual, I did not want to do this. This happens a lot more than y'all realize, and I do hope that you guys are able to protect yourselves. Document what you can. Tell the person you're not interested, and I understand that intimidation and retaliation are a real thing. Be very careful because people will treat you unfairly when you don't want to subdue and do as they deem appropriate. And so this is a very, very slippery slope. We will get into it further in another conversation because the intimidation factor, the retaliation factor are very, very prevalent. I was retaliated against post-sexual assault, and it is unbelievable to the extent that people will go to retaliate against you because you're unwilling to let somebody rape you, unwilling to let somebody sexually assault you, you're unwilling to let someone fondle you, you're unwilling to let someone touch you inappropriately or talk to you inappropriately or treat you inappropriately. They will retaliate, and this is why you have to document it. They will intimidate you. They will try to put your job on the line. They will try to make you uncomfortable. And this is why it is so important to ensure you know what to do. Next, we're checking in with the Shade Room, and we have an L.E. Chapa having a conversation about situationships and STD testing. I will let the video play.
I love situationships because I feel like they ain't got to do with you being sneaky nor being entangled with someone. A situationship can just be like you on some freak. You just doing your thing, you just got a little situation here.
You know what's the problem?
What's up?
A nigga will sit in a situationship for years. Niggas be in situationships engaged.
Yeah.
No cap.
Do you require for your sexual partners to get tested?
I usually don't tend to go after dirty ass that I feel would be
discernment.
You know. Then again, I've been in a relationship for a little minute. So now that I'm single and I'm getting back on these, I probably would. It depends. Some guys you could just tell how they move and how they even move with you. And I appreciate guys that absolutely need a condom.
Pull it out first type shit.
Yeah, I think that's so nasty when motherfuckers just be like, fuck it.
I think it's nasty if they be like, fuck it, more times than they don't say fuck it.
I think every time if it ain't your girl, you need to be strapped up.
Okay, so a few things there. I'm not the expert on situationships. Quite the contrary. I do prefer, dating, courting before we take things to a more serious sexual level. And in that time, we're obviously going to have the conversations like, your past, your experiences, your status with regards to all kinds of things. And I would advise against situationships, but I'm not here to tell you who to date and how to date them. I just think that they get messy really fast. And like she said, some people will be engaged or married and sit in these situationships, and it's like, how many side people do you need to be fulfilled within yourself? Because your child trauma, your adult trauma, your codependency, and your toxicity is showing. Either way, I digress. There are people who are okay with being side chicks. Like I said in the previous video, that this is not about that. And this is not, with respect to that. In the same manner that you would expect somebody to be forthcoming with you with regard to their relationship status, you do expect somebody to be forthcoming with you. And it's actually law. And the reason I'm bringing this up on Fight for Your Rights Friday is because people should be requiring their partners to get tested and having these conversations. For the last 10 years or so, decade or so, I have, I think longer actually, required that my partner, we get tested. We're going to go make sure we're good, right? Nothing weird, no fakey shaky. We're just going to make sure everything's good. Why? Because you're not about to come back and either try to make me sick, make me look like I made you sick, none of that. It is just responsibility. We're responsible adults, right? I don't want anything happening to me. I love my body. I love my temple. And this is what happens when, you have people staying in these relationships, like the girl who murdered the side chick. You stay in this relationship with this man that you know is a cheater. And now you want to be mad because he's bringing home diseases, but he's not getting tested. He's not wrapping it up. You're not making him get tested. And you're now sick. That's not going to be me. Never, ever. I'm so grateful. All I'm saying is make sure your partner's getting tested. New partners, existing partners, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. If you have somebody, and she's right, that's moving funny, like you just can't find them for 2 days at a time, they're just lying about where they're going and who they're with. This is a good opportunity to start being proactive on your self-care, because if something happens and you're not prepared, then you can't take legal action. Because if this person makes you sick, you can go to the police with your report and say, I was not sick and he made me sick, she made me sick, whatever. And this is why we are talking about it on Fight for Your Rights Friday. Make them get tested. Have the conversations. Next, so I was scrolling through the gram as usual, and I saw some very interesting images of Lady Gaga. Love her music, not an insult, not hitting her, but it was interesting to see her fashion choice. And I am bringing it up. I will post the picture now. I will give credit where credit is due. Not really sure where I saw it as of now. And also posting a picture of Bianca Censori. We've seen this type of fashion choice before. They're not the only ones. So the question that is being brought up, and it's a legal question, legalities around it are, we seem to even applaud in some instances, if not just turn a blind eye to some fashion choices, particularly on behalf of women. If a woman were to leave the house with her butt cheeks out and or nipples out, it's not a big deal. We applaud it. Why? Because a woman's body is beautiful. It's fabulous. However, fair is fair. And I'm just here to, to give a different perspective. If a man were to walk out of the house with his butt cheeks out or his balls showing, pretty sure he would get slapped with an indecent exposure. So at what point are we stopping this equality search, first off? Because if a woman can do it, he can do it too. But do we want to see it? I'm just asking. Two, continuing on with the conversation that we've been having with respect to consent and inappropriate behavior and predatory behavior. At what point do some of our fashion decisions encourage these behaviors? And let's not forget, Amber Rose did this whole walk. She really went on this platform saying that what I wear does not dictate whether or not you can touch me. And she's not wrong. She's actually correct. What I wear does not have any weight on whether or not you can touch me. Consent is consent. And if I said no, I mean no. If I said never, I mean never. And the reality is we oftentimes dress in a way that is leaning into fashion trends. And our society, an over-sexualized society, is creating a generation of people like the Epsteins and the Weinsteins and the Diddies. Do we have any legal responsibility? Question. Drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you think that these are normal actions? Do you think that, not negating that we have the right to wear whatever we want to wear, do we have any kind of mitigation? Is there somewhere we can meet in the middle where we can say, as women, as men, so we think that this would solve the problem? Because the reality is there are a lot of children, there are a lot of young girls who get taken advantage of, and part of the reason is because of fashion choices, because the perception that is given off is that these young children are open and available. And I don't like using this language, but it is a perception that is given off. And how do we change the narrative? How do we change the perception? How do we stop predatory behavior from attacking our little girls and boys? Drop it in the comments. I'm anxious to hear what you guys have to say. This is something that's very close to my spirit. I was raped as a virgin, and I don't condone any kind of molestation with children. I don't condone any kind of predatory behavior, period, but particularly with our kids. And as a person who suffered as a child and as an adult, I'm just curious, do we think that the way people dress is helping this problem? Let me know. Next, book club. So December's pick is Mastery by Robert Greene. So if you haven't read Mastery, it is a must read in your lifetime. This is one of the best books I probably have ever read. I am actually a Robert Greene fan. He speaks on topics in a way that is very palpable. And the beauty of Mastery is the understanding of what you're naturally good at, natural selection with what you love. It is the combination of both. And so that is the recommendation. Drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've liked it. Have you read it? Do you have a recommendation? I'm open to reading new books. I'm an avid reader. So let me know if you have any recommendations for any books to try for book club. I would love to read them. All right, guys. As always, it's been a blast. I love you so much. Peace, love, and light.
Love you, love it.